All right, ladies. So we are live, and I want to welcome you to another self love conversation. We have been rocking all week, I tell you, only because we want to make sure that we bring you the best, like I told you, in this industry for women to come and give you some advice and advice about self love and just advice about living on your purpose or living in your purpose. And tonight we have Miss Kendra Garcia, who is a life strategist who decided to come on our platform just to give us some nuggets about how we can go ahead and live our highest and truest self, and also how we will be able to increase our self love and to share her journey. So, Kendra, thank you so much for being here. And just let us know a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much for having me. I am from Nashville, Tennessee. I am a certified life coach, and I go by Life Strategist KG on Instagram. I have 5 children. I
5 kids, nothing
have.
like that. You got a small body.
Thank you, girl. Yes. Hey. That came with the mental uh, mindset change that I had to make. So about 3 years ago, I was 30 pounds heavier. I was in a relationship that was toxic for me, and I was just not in a happy space. And so I got out of the relationship, and the weight left. Um, a lot of it on its own, some of it intentional. And I found true happiness and learned how to love myself and found self-care and all of that great stuff in the midst of building my coaching practice.
Right. And so I would ask you with, that's a big jump. You go from being in a toxic relationship to discovering who you are to starting a business and to being here where you are. So within those things, what were the feelings? What are the things that you were going through that allowed you to get to the next step? Because that is the meat that we want to know. Like once you got out of that toxic relationship, how did you rebuild yourself back up?
That's a really good question. So first, let me give a little bit of background about what led me to get out of that toxic relationship. I was in a relationship at that point for 18 years. And my grandmother, who I was really close to, was very impactful in my life. She passed away that year. And so that forced me to look at myself, my situation, and to ask myself if I was really living a life of purpose. Like
Mm-hmm.
if I died in that, would I be happy with the decisions I made? Would I be happy with what I had done up to that point with my children as far as the environment I had them in, the foundation we had built for them? I was not happy. The steps to figure out what that looked like, right? I didn't know if that meant like getting out of the relationship permanently or just taking some time to separate to figure some stuff out. But I knew whatever it was, I needed to do it so that I can figure out what life looked like for me, what I wanted that to look like. And so you talk about what that felt like. What are some of the feelings that I felt? First and foremost is fear, right? Because you don't know what's on the other side of the door you're about to walk through. I had never been a single parent, and I was looking at becoming a single parent. And I know single parents, and the horror stories that I've heard, that wasn't something I was trying to subscribe to, you know? And then also anxiety, a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, but also in the midst of that was a lot of hopefulness, right? It had to be better on the other side because where I was not working. I was not in a good space. I wasn't happy. I was still coaching, but I didn't feel good coaching my clients because I didn't have the right type of energy, the right type of mindset in that season. And so I was talking to one of my friends, and this was before I made the like, you know what's going on. You know what you need to do in this season. Like whatever that looks like, that's what you need to do. And so I was like, okay, well, I would never tell anybody to divorce or leave their spouse. But I knew for me, if I was coaching somebody, I would tell them to do what's best for you. right? And for me, what was best for me was getting out of that situation, even if it was temporarily, so I could figure out what life looked like, what I need to do, right? And to get my mind right. And so making that decision was the best decision that I've ever made, because yeah, it was scary. Like I didn't know what it looked like, but it caused me to grow in so many ways. It forced me to look at myself, right? And look at the changes that I needed to make, because obviously I was in that position because there was something in me that allowed certain things to happen. So it forced me to look at myself and to grow in ways that I never thought that I would be able to. But also to truly accept that happiness truly is available if you're willing to make the sacrifices to get it.
And
And so with that, 30 pounds, I lost 30 pounds. My changed. And I was just able to develop it and focus on the things that I need for myself, right? Because I need to be the example for them on what self-care and self-love
right.
looks like.
And so you know what? I love everything you said because it really just resonates with me, but also what we reinforce here. Because the biggest thing that we talk about is the situation that you're in, you know, and you understand that something has to change, but you just don't know how or what it is to do, but you know in your current environment you just it's just not working for you. There's something more that is out there, right? And when we women get that feeling, it really scares us because we're saying like we already committed to something, and because we already committed to this, we start to rationalize and program ourselves and say, you know what, you know, we got to make this work because we got kids, we got all this stuff, right? And to know that you have 5 children, you made a decision. Now you are a single parent going on a journey, trying to figure out who you were, right? As a woman, as a mom, and all of this stuff. When you finally stepped out there, what was it like in the beginning? Were you really scared? Was it really what you thought it was? Or was it something that you said, hey, you know what? It's not easy, but it's something I can handle.
I didn't know what to expect really, but at first you feel a sense of relief. Like for me, I felt a sense of relief, like, okay, I finally did it. And I felt relief. And then it was scary. It was really scary, because from a financial standpoint, as a parent, you want to be able to support and take care of your family and provide for your family, right? I didn't want my children to suffer, even though we had hard times. I didn't want their quality of life to change because I made a decision to change. So that meant I had to be willing to do whatever it took to make sure that the same quality of life that we provide them together, I could still do that. I didn't want that to change. And so a lot of what I did, I leaned on my faith and my relationship with God. Like that grew and that got stronger. And I prayed a lot. I prayed a lot. At the same time, during that season, my job that I was at the time, we had actually just taken a pay cut, right? Like they had given us a pay cut. And so I remember right before I made the decision to leave, I prayed and I said, God, I don't know what this looks like. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I trust you, whatever it looks like. Show me, guide me, put the resources in place, give me the strength to make sure that I can walk this out. I just want to be able to take care of my kids. And when I tell you I worked my butt off that year, I worked so many jobs. I had a full-time job. I was driving Lyft, Uber, still coaching people, right? At one point I was working my full-time job. I was working UPS at night, driving Lyft and Uber, and still coaching people. Um, just so that I can make sure that they didn't suffer and we were okay. And I remember I felt like this is a storm, but it's going to come to an end. Like, I don't know when, but I know it's going to come to an end. All I need to do is keep working, keep trusting the process. And it was hard because, like you said, we commit to something. I was married. I committed to the marriage. You have visions of what that looks like. You have all of these goals and all of these hopes for that relationship, for your family. And that just changed, right? And so it was a point in time when I remember I was downtown Nashville riding around. I seen couples walking around and I got sad. I was like, I don't know if I will ever have that again. And I had to be real with myself and say, well, when you had it, it wasn't what you thought it should be or what you wanted. So what difference does it make if you have it or not if it's not the right situation, right? And so you have to trust God that there is something better out there. This is just a season. This is not your permanent journey. This is just a part of the journey. And so that's what kept me strong during that season. And when I tell you, everything happened. Like, God just put stuff in my spirit. You're going to have to let this job go. It's not serving you. And again, we hold on to stuff. I was like, okay, I just walked away from a relationship. God, I'm not letting this job go because it's flexible. I kept holding on to it. Got fired from my job. And I was like, okay. Like, my position was like, they done away with my position. I was like, okay, I'm just going to trust you. I don't know what this looks like because I had been at that job for 5 years at that point, and I didn't know what to do, what to go, where to go. But everything turned around. God provided throughout the whole entire process, the whole entire season. God provided. Better things came. I got a better job, right? I was able to focus more on my business and coach, and I had peace, right? And peace of mind. And that is priceless when you can say you have peace and peace of mind while still going through a storm. I had peace and peace of mind, and I was open to receive whatever growth was in that season because I knew that whatever I received in that season was going to be something that I can use to help the next woman when she was going through a similar season. And so I just, walked through it, and I was open to receive whatever it was, whatever
I,
change, whatever growth that looked.
I love your story, and I love it because it is a journey that a lot of women are afraid to take when they know that they need to get out of a toxic relationship or take that step to go ahead and go through that growth process. But one of the things that I love when you said is that, I worked this job and I worked this job and, I did Uber and Lyft and UPS at night. That is only so that you can discover who you are, discover those things, and get yourself in position for what it is that you really want to do. And I tell the women all the time, when you make a move like that, there's always going to be growing pains. There is nothing you can do about it. You cannot avoid it unless you go ahead and get under something else that might be easy for you, but definitely is going to come at a price, right? And so,
Right.
it's like
Yes.
when you decide to make this leap, and now you have to lean on your faith, and you have to lean on your own will, and you have to do those things that you need to do. That's where you find God, right? That's where you find your faith. That's where you find your strength. That's where you really find out what you can do and who you are. And now look at you now, right? Look at you now. You have your business,
And
you are counseling women, you are showing them that it is possible because you are a living example. And so, what is life like for you today? And what are some of the things that you're doing? Because your story is amazing, because there's a lot of women who are afraid to do that middle part. But what they don't understand is what's happening on the other side, what comes out of that, right? Because it doesn't last forever.
mm-hmm.
Love is going to come again. All that stuff is going to come back. But you know what? It's going to be a different you, a better you. Tell them, Miss Garcia, what the better you that comes out of that.
Well, I say it's it's amazing, right? It is so amazing after the storm because, for one, again, like I said, I looked at myself. I wasn't trying to focus on changing anybody else, right? I wasn't worried about pointing the finger. I needed to grow and heal myself and heal the things that I needed to heal. I did therapy. I took time for myself. I wasn't trying to date. I didn't date in that season until everything was final, until we were divorced. I took time not to date because I didn't want to get under something else, right? I needed to know how to stand on my own 2 feet, what that looked like. And again, I needed to do the work to grow, right? I sat down, I wrote down, I remember it was like months later after I decided to separate from my ex. And I sat down and I wrote down who he is, who my future man is, right? What does he look like? What are his characteristics? What do I want in a man? And it wasn't from a superficial standpoint, like he doesn't have to be tall, dark, and handsome. It was from a, what do I need to be the best version of myself? How can this person add to me? So I wrote down character, integrity. I want him to be honest. I want him to have integrity. I want him to be a hard worker. All of these things that I want in a man. What does that look like, right? And then I looked at that and I said, okay, now who do I need to be to get that? Who do I need to be to receive that? What areas do I need to grow in to receive that, right? Because I can't expect to receive something when I'm not bringing that to the table. So I need to sit down and grow into her so that I can receive him, right? And so I took that time to, like I said, grow spiritually, mentally. Like there was things that I need to work on financially. I wasn't in a space financially where I felt comfortable dating. I needed to pay off debt. I need to get my credit right. I need all of these things I want to work on. So I made a list of the things that I wanted to work on. I wanted to do therapy. I need to do that because I need to figure out what healing looked like. So I did that. I needed to make sure I closed that door before I opened another door because that could have been a possibility. I loved my ex-husband. I didn't leave him because I didn't love him. I left him because I needed to love myself, right? And so there was a possibility that that door could have been open if I didn't really do what it took to close that door properly. So once I did all of that and went through that entire process, and mind you, I still did stuff that I love to do. Like I traveled, I went to conferences, I worked on my business, I did developmental classes to help me be better. Trying to be a better parent for my children, looking at generational curses, generational cycles. What does that look like? And how can I break it with my family, with my children, right? Working on those things and enjoying them in that process and just creating a strong foundation so that they could feel confident in that season because it wasn't just me. They were impacted by that as well. On the other side of that is just pure joy. Like, I can't even explain it. It is not anything external that creates the joy. It is something internal. And it comes from being grateful for the journey, being grateful for the challenges, and learning how to grow through the situations. Before, I used to feel like stuff was happening to me. Now I know that stuff happens for me, right? And so I don't brace for situations. I embrace situations when they come because I know that if I'm going through something, it's because there's something for me to receive in this season. So I need to grow in this season. So even, pandemic, COVID, I got laid off at the beginning of this situation, COVID, right? And I took this season to really focus on growing, meditating, being mindful, being open to receive whatever God has for me in this season. And it's just amazing what peace of mind looks like, a mindset shift looks like. Even in pandemic, I was still able to pay off debt. In pandemic, I've been able to pay every bill that I've had. I've been able to work with new clients. I've been able to grow my business, take my business to new heights. I got a new job, like a better job than the one I had before. And the one I had before was pretty good. Spending time with my family and being open to date and date from a different perspective. And now I have somebody that is something completely different from what I would have expected. And not even what I would have expected, but everything that I needed in this season. So there is happiness on the other side. You just have to be willing to grow to get to the other side of the storm. And once you get through it and you actually take the time to grow through it, there's so much joy on it. There's so much gratitude and appreciation. But the thing that you don't take for granted is what it took for you to get there. And so I would never go back to where I was because I went through too much to get to this point. So I'm not going to sacrifice it for anybody or settle for anything less than what I know that I'm worth and what I desire. And so that is an amazing feeling to know I don't have to settle, to know that guess what? With God, I can do anything. I can stand on my own if I have to stand on my own. And I know that He has me. And true happiness comes from within, it's not external. And when you understand that in any season, you can create your own happiness and your own joy. And that's what I learned.
And I'm silent because I want our women to hear every word you're saying. Because you are a woman who walked the journey, and when you came out on the other side, now you are reaping the benefits of that journey. And most of the time it is airy fairy to a lot of women, right? Because it's like, well, it worked out for you because you're strong. It worked out for you because you weren't afraid. No, it worked out for me because I stepped out there and I made a decision to choose me,
Mm-hmm.
to love me,
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
find out what God had for me, because I know that He did not bring me here just to do this. When I look at my life every day and I look around me and I see everything, this is not it. I should be doing some more. And you know what? Uh, it nags you and it pulls on you, and you can't sleep, and all this stuff happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that fear of you stepping out there because you don't want to work those many jobs, you don't want to put all that effort in, you don't want to see your kids faces when they can't have everything like they used to, so you just stay stuck where you are, and you say, you know what, at some point it's not even worth it. See, you didn't wait until you hit rock bottom, you made a decision, you see. And that's what I want you ladies to hear. She didn't wait till she hit rock bottom, she made a decision, and when she made that decision, it was hard, right? Going through
Yes.
the storm, it was hard. But guess what, the growth that comes with it, who you are that comes out on the other side, that person that you always wanted comes. Like you said, that job comes, that business comes, all that stuff comes. So now you're a coach and you're coaching. What are you coaching? How can we get in contact with you, and how can we follow you?
Yes, so I am a life coach, and I'm coaching women mostly on how to navigate life challenges, how to grow through life challenges, and how to glow simultaneously because you can glow while you're going through the storm, right?
Mhm.
And that's one of the things that people used to always say to me. They used to be like, "Oh my God, you're so happy, you're glowing," and I used to be like, really? Because I'm like really going through it. I don't know what y'all see, but once I grew a little more and I look back, I'm like, yeah, I was because I could still smile through it, right? And people used to reach out like, they would know stuff that I was dealing with. I know you're dealing with this. How do you smile? And I used to be like, because I know that this too shall pass. This is just a season, right? And so that's one of the things that I coach women on is how do you do the things that you want to do? How do you become a better version of yourself? And a lot of the things that hold us back is fear, anxiety, procrastination, and like you said, and being stagnant, right? Being stuck. But we all were put here to do extraordinary things. I don't believe that any of us were put here to be mediocre. And that doesn't mean that you have to be a celebrity or, a big influencer or anything like that. That just means that every day that you show up for yourself, you need to show up as the best version of yourself. And what does that look like? And so that's what I like to coach women on is how do you show up as the best version of yourself? Because what we have to realize is that we are the example for our children on what self-care, self-love looks like. We are the example for our children on what chasing your dreams look like, what accomplishing your goals look like. I believe that you should practice what you preach, right? Hence, I'm a coach. So I'm not going to tell my clients to do anything I'm not willing to do. Same thing for my children. I'm not going to tell my children to do something I'm not willing to do. So in order for you to tell them, right, you have to be the example of what that looks like. So when I got pregnant with my freshman year in college, and I had to drop out of college to take care of my son. And so a few years later, I went back to school because I wanted to get my degree because I wanted to be an example for my kids. How am I going to tell you to go to college and get your degree if I didn't do it? Right? That's just me telling you what I should have done. And so I went back to school, got my degrees. My children were there. They saw me graduate. Went back, got my master's degree. My children were there. They saw me graduate. So you can't give me an excuse because I did it and I did it with you. Right? I know what it looks like to struggle. I know what it looks like to work hard and not to know how it's going to turn out on the other end. But I also know what that looks like on the other end once you put that hard work and that dedication and that trust and that faith in it, and what it looks like once you accomplish that, whatever that looks like. So that's what I coach women on is how do you show up as the best version of yourself? How do you push past fear? How do you create businesses? How do you write books? How do you be the best mother that you can be the best wife that you can be? Because a lot of it starts with us. It starts with our mindset. You can break a generational curse, a generational cycle by changing your mindset first. And in turn, that will help your children and your future generations do different from what you saw, right? And so that's what I coach people on. And they can connect with me at kendragarcia.com. You can go and sign up for your free coaching consultation. I also have text to have coaching on the go. So you can sign up to be on my text list and you'll get daily coaching, daily motivation. I have some coaching plans on the go. So you can subscribe to some of my coaching subscriptions so that you can get some coaching on the go, have a couple of sessions set up each month so that you can get the coaching that you need. I have something for beginners. I have something for people who know they are ready to do the work and they just need some accountability. And then also you can connect with me on Instagram at Life Strategist KG.
Hmm. Life Strategist KG, y'all. I enjoyed your whole entire story. I really did. Because you are a living example of what we talk about every day. For real. We are. And one of the things that I want to leave you with is I just hope and continue and will pray that, people continue to pour into you, that you continue to build and you continue to stretch yourself and you continue to live your highest and truest self, because this journey is a lifelong journey. Just like I tell my ladies, this is a lifelong journey. And because it's a lifelong journey, we have to constantly pour into each other, uplift each other, and just know, the higher you go, the more you deal with, right? The higher you go, the
Mm-hmm.
more you deal with, the more you need to be poured into, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
while you're giving, somebody has to pour into you so you can continue to give. You know what I'm saying? And whoever that
Yes.
is for you,
Yes.
I just hope and I just pray that you continue to stay focused, you continue to spread your knowledge and continue to tell your story, because your story is a typical story that us women go through when we decide to choose us. When we decide to choose
Mm-hmm.
ourselves, this is the journey that we go through. But damn it, the other side is so much better. It is so much better,
Yes.
right?
Yes. 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 Thank you so much for having me on. I have enjoyed this as well. Thank you so much. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep spreading the word and keep inspiring and motivating women to take the leap and be the best versions of themselves.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kendra, for being here. I appreciate it. And we'll definitely have you back. We'll see if we could work together. Okay.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Bye.